It's Cheryl Barr from cherylbarr.com, and I am an entrepreneur and a mindset expert, and I help people bust through negative beliefs about money. So I combine all of that with my work, and I'm in my second six-figure business that I built over a period since 1998. It is my pleasure to talk today to Teresa Greenway. Teresa is a mother of 10 children, and she's the grandmother of 10 children, and she teaches online baking classes. She's the author of 5 baking books, and just in this year has published her memoir called Reach for Joy. Teresa can be found at northwestsourdough.com, where she has a sourdough baking blog, online baking courses, and books on how to bake real sourdough. And when she's not online, she likes to bake, read, and walk and ride her bike. So welcome, Teresa.
Well, thank you, Cheryl. It's nice to be here. Thanks
It,
for asking me.
oh, you're so welcome. Teresa is the first of a series that I'm doing with real women, entrepreneurs who've been down in the trenches and they persevered to have their breakthrough. And I wanted to share these women with all of you because there's a tendency in our online world that we see people who are doing really well and we think they just made it overnight. And I really want to show what goes into it and some of the key elements that women like Teresa have had to go through on their journey. I call it their Shero's journey because building a business is a spiritual practice. Wouldn't you agree, Teresa?
Yes, I agree with
I
that.
mean, there's a lot more to it. I want to have you all learn through these women what they've done to get to where they are today. And I think that's the really cool part. And I'm featuring women because I have been an entrepreneur twice and I've made it, and no one taught me how to do it. Yet there's key elements mental that you have to really work through. And I think that when we women can create a business, we can create that business to have a lot of freedom in our lives and to really follow what we love to do. Without further ado, I want Teresa to talk to us about her backstory because let's hear her backstory and then we'll let her tell you what she did to get through the struggles and what she's doing today. So welcome.
Oh, well, thank you. It was 5 years ago that I left an abusive marriage which had lasted 30 years. And I had 2 teenagers with me. One is a disabled, my son's disabled. Also, at the same time, my mother was dying. She had congestive heart failure. And so I went to take care of her for a while, and I did that off and on. I also had other things that I had to do, but I wasn't able to get anything other than part-time work
Mm-hmm.
because of my obligations and because I have a disabled son. And so I was only making about $300 a month, and I was on food stamps, and I felt really hopeless. I felt like, well, I can't work full time because I have a disabled son. My mother needs me off and on, and she's dying. You know, I really needed to be there for her and my dad. And so I really didn't know what to do. I started looking online. I had a sourdough business that had lasted. It's been ongoing for about 11 years, but I never really broke through. I never really made very much with it, just a small trickle. And because of what was going on in my life, I had to pretty much give up the business. And so the only trickle of money I was making was from my sourdough book.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started looking online to see, well, what can I do? I can work at home. I know the computer because I've had a sourdough business online. I wrote my books, so I know how to write. So I decided to look at what I could do, and I thought, well, I've always been an entrepreneur. I started selling cupcakes when I was 10 years old, and I've always been an entrepreneur. So I thought, well, that would fit me perfectly with my life situation right now. So I started looking online, and I found your a webinar, and it was called
Smart women?
no,
Smart.
it was Remove Your Money Blocks.
Oh, okay.
That was it. And when I was in the remove your money blocks, it just it really gave me hope that I could, find out what was going on inside of me, what my thinking might be, so that I could change my thinking and make some money, become successful. Because my thinking was, and I think it's pretty universal, I'm not good enough.
It's universal.
Yeah, I didn't get to go to college. I don't have a degree. The workforce right now is, really tight for people even with degrees. And I thought, how can I compete against that? I'm 56. Well, back then I was 51. But how can I compete in the workforce with no work history and no degree? And then I thought, well, I could take stock of what I can do and work with what I have. But I had limiting beliefs, and that was that I couldn't do it, that I wasn't good enough, and then there was some beliefs that I drug up from my childhood. That rich people aren't loved as much by God as poor people are, because I mean that's kind of drummed into you. However, in the Bible, God had rich friends too, so that's just not really true.
However, the mind remembers.
Yeah.
There's so much that's even socialized into us by and conditioned by institutions. And I want to stop and just acknowledge what you just said, because the beliefs, Byron Katie has a list on her site, thework.com, and it's under resources, and there's a whole list of universal beliefs. And the two most insidious are, I'm not good
I'm
enough.
not good enough.
And
Yep.
then there's all kinds of flavors. I'm not young enough, and you and I could resonate with that. If
Yeah.
we did,
Yep.
we wouldn't be here today speaking, but we
Yep.
don't. It's like age is limitless. And the second is, who do you think you are?
Oh
Like,
yeah.
like you could go through, I don't have a degree. Who do I
Yep.
think I am to write a book? I mean, I already went through, who do I think I am to write? I'm not good at writing. So I'm not thin enough, rich enough, young enough, smart enough, expert enough, go on. So if you have those, that is universal, and everyone has it, they just don't admit it. They're not conscious. That's the other thing. And you were conscious enough to know that. Keep going, because you're that's when we get down into, Byron Katie calls it the hole, where we go down and we can just drop off and quit at that point, because we're listening to what the mind, the ego, is telling us, which is not our higher self, our
Yeah.
intuition,
Yeah.
our soul, whatever you want to call it. That's, you must have listened because you're here today.
Yeah, well, I also had 30 years of being told that I was not very good and I couldn't do anything. And so I was also dealing with having to become a new person after being in an abusive relationship. You have to sort of peel away everything that you were and see who you are, become someone new. And that's kind of a difficult process, but it's also very healing. Doing the writing helped me. I was writing on my memoir at the time, and that was very therapeutic.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I went through 5 years of therapy, so I was diagnosed with PTSD.
Wow.
So, yeah, so it was very good to be writing. I think most of all, reaching into the inside and finding out that uh, I'm the same as everyone else. I can do whatever I reach for. I can reach for the stars and I can make it happen, because Bill Gates doesn't have a college degree. And most of the people in the world that are real successful, they don't have the background or the degrees or whatever we imagine that we have to have before we can become successful. They just reach for the stars, or they just get lucky and then continue reaching for the stars.
Mm-hmm. They put a lot of hard work in, and I think that they hold on and persevere to their dream.
Oh yeah.
And despite what happens around them, even if people around, I like to say, I absolutely give this, um, share this wisdom, and that is, even the people close to you don't understand. It's not their fault. Be careful who you share your dream with, because that's sacred. And if people around you don't understand that, that's their stuff, not yours. And hold on to it. Hold on to it, which is what you did. You got a scholarship to my class. I think I gave you a scholarship for Smart Women Make Money.
Yep.
And then you started to work on your money beliefs, which is really critical in having a business, especially because, we've got a price, we've got to ask people to buy things. And of course, we women aren't taught that, or we're not taught finances. Tell us about that.
I think that uh, working on my self-esteem and self-confidence was really good, and then working on my money thoughts, where I felt that I couldn't make money. I had not really made money all the almost decade, over a decade that I had my little business, at home business. And so 10 years of reinforcement that this is a small business and it's never going to go anywhere. Plus, I'm not good enough because I'm not a baker with these culinary degrees and a master baker. And there was just also, the I'm not good enough. If I try to deal with people, they're going to look down on me. Just I think the same things that everyone runs through. And then when you think, well, maybe I can do it, you have this fear come inside. You can't do this. This is beyond you. You haven't done this before. How are you gonna? Well, I decided to do the baking courses, and it was, well, you don't know how to edit videos and audio and put together lectures, and I didn't know how to do any of that stuff, but I'm pretty technical savvy, so I thought, well, I could learn.
And you said that I remember that we had a coaching session, and in that coaching session, you didn't have, this is when you were making, I think, $300 a month.
Hmm.
And you didn't have enough income, and you had your son who's disabled and another child living at home, and you were really afraid.
Hmm.
Talk about that when you were back there and that you set this goal. Let's talk about that.
Okay. Um, my mind was telling me that I just could not make this happen. It was saying nobody lives on $300 a month. You can't do this. This is really scary. How are you going to survive? You're going to be homeless. And so I had these really terrific fears. They were really great fears. And so I had the session with you where you asked me, well, is it true that you can't make it on $300 a month? And to me, I automatically, my mind went, well, that's really obvious. But I decided to think about it instead. And I thought about it and I realized that I had been put into a place by the universe, by God, where I didn't have a mortgage. Somebody else was living on my property and they were paying the utilities. And I was getting food stamp help. And I was actually surviving on $300 a month. And it was like a breakthrough for me because I suddenly realized I am doing fine on $300 a month. And, you would think nobody can do that. But I think because I was in a place where it had to be done, well, God was taking care of me in that place. Or whatever your higher belief is. The universe was caring for me in the place where I was at that moment. And I suddenly realized I'll be okay no matter where I'm at, whether I'm
Mm,
making 300 or zero or a million.
that's huge.
And I won't even, and even if I was making a million, I could have all the same fears. I'm not good enough. I can't do this. I can't break through. Everyone's going to find out that I'm no good.
Yeah,
So
millionaires have those same
yeah,
fears, and they're not all happy because the money came. So
absolutely. So
totally true.
it's so true. So you can be happy on zero or, dollars a year or whatever, or a million. And it really is your mindset. And your mindset holds you back. It keeps you in a hole. And I did not think, well, I could expand the business that I already have and that I already know because I hadn't done it in the past. So
Mm,
I think you were with me when I was struggling to decide, well, what can I do to earn
yeah.
money? I don't know what to do. And you suggested to me, well, maybe you should do what you already know.
Hmm.
And I thought about that for a while because I didn't think I could. And then I thought, well, why not? And I started looking into what could I do with my business? How could I expand it? And at that time, I was online looking for new ways to expand my skills, and I came across Udemy because I have a YouTube channel, Northwest Sourdough, as well, and it's got over 100 baking videos on it.
Wow.
Well, when I first started, it only had like about 20. But one of the courses I took was how to optimize your YouTube channel. And so I thought, well, maybe I could make some decent money on YouTube
Mhm.
because some people make a lot of money on YouTube. And so I kind of hit that really hard. I was taking this man's course and I started optimizing my YouTube channel, learning about SEO and how to do better videos, do better audio, do intros, extras, all kinds of fun things that I just loved learning. And it suddenly clicked. I could make a course like this man is, that I'm taking this man's course. I can make a course like this. I
Mhm.
could teach baking.
Mhm.
And so that was another aha moment for me. And so I started looking into how to make a Udemy course. And, it blossomed from that point on.
And I remember too, you set this goal and the goal scared you, but you hit it. Can you talk about that?
Okay, I didn't quite hit the goal because it was, but I'm going to.
Yeah.
um,
But what
uh,
did you realize from that
yeah.
process of imagining and setting that intention? That's what I think when we set an intention and take some action, the universe will come right in and whatever you want to call it, but it happens. And that's why I'm here today.
In your course, Smart Women Make Money, there's a part where we have to make a goal of what kind of money we want to make next, what we want to up our game, what do we want to shoot for. And I didn't quite understand what was going on. I didn't have any work yet. I hadn't started making my courses, and so I just decided that it maybe we were supposed to imagine it. So I imagined I was making 10K a month, and and then I saw you helping the other women to work really hard to reach their goals, and I'm thinking, okay, I don't really have anything to work on, but 10K became my goal anyway. And then the first Udemy course that I published was in April, and by August I was already making 5K. And it was so unheard of. Well, not unheard of because some of the technical courses make way more than that.
Yeah.
But for a course that wasn't technical on Udemy, it was quite unusual. And so I was featured in 2 interviews on Udemy, Udemy instructor Spotlight, and then corporate Udemy heard about my story, and they also featured me because I think they're trying to encourage more non-technical courses.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was really interesting that I hit the 5K, and I haven't quite hit 10K yet, but
You
I'm shooting.
will. You will. And I
I'm
mean, you are
definitely
on your
will.
way. I have no
Yeah.
doubt about that. Well, that's pretty remarkable. And I always like to say, so people, if you're listening, make a revenue goal that's edgy. And you can make a pie in the sky one, yet you've got to work backwards and figure out from profit clarity perspective, what are the things you've got to do to get to 10K? Now, you at this point could probably map out as you keep growing. I have no doubts that you'll keep going because this is working for you, and you'll probably do new things we don't even know about today
Yep.
in a year or 2 years. And I think it's remarkable that you persevered and you just kept going through these fears, these universal beliefs and fears, and then all of a sudden, Udemy noticed you. All kinds of things have happened. And tell us where you are today from your platform perspective, which is your website and your social site. So, how have you built a tribe today?
Oh yeah. I've got a couple of groups and a page on Facebook, and today we just hit a milestone. We passed 10K members, and we're having a big celebration.
Okay.
All of my courses have been discounted to the lowest they've ever been discounted to. And I have my 4 volume sourdough book discounted as well. And so we're celebrating all this week until Sunday. And it's just been amazing. 10K members, and that's just in one group.
Wow.
I also have a good following on YouTube, and I have my site, Northwest Sourdough, and a blog where everyone's pretty interactive as well. And everything has just sort of exploded. It's just been amazing. I went from having not very much traffic to a lot of traffic. I don't even know how many, 20, 30 people joining my group every day. So it's just been amazing. It's been
Wow.
wonderful.
It's a remarkable story. So you have a special right now. So anybody listening to this, you've got this special. Tell us what they need to do and where do they go so they can be part of the special if they're interested in seeing your site and what you have to offer.
Well, my Facebook group is called Perfect Sourdough, and I will put up a blog post as well about it to direct people. So
Okay.
on my blog at Northwest Sourdough, you'll be able to find it later today. And we'll be celebrating until November 1st, Sunday evening, midnight. So
Okay.
the specials are all available until then.
Okay, great. Because I'll put this up this week. What would you tell an entrepreneur, a female entrepreneur, who's watching this and they feel kind of hopeless or they are in the midst of having all these universal beliefs that they're not good enough? What would you just tell them that you want them to know that it can be possible for them?
Well, I think one thing that I learned from you that has been really helpful for me is to go towards the fear. That really has helped me because even now, today, I'll still say, well, what if someone notices I'm not good enough? Or what if someone thinks da 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 da? And then I'll think, no, they're not doing it. I am.
Yeah.
So if they want to try to be better than me, let them.
Hey, I love
Because they
that.
are not trying. There's nobody else out there doing what
Yeah.
I'm doing right now. So I would say go
Go
towards the
towards the
fear.
fear. Uh-huh.
And I would say make a huge goal that's edgy, like you said,
Yeah.
because mine was a pie in the sky, but
Hmm.
it opened my mind and my awareness to the possibilities, which I don't think would have happened if I would have thought, oh, I want to make 2K a month.
Yeah. Well,
So,
yeah, and that would have set your income lower. Can you
mhm.
see this? And I have no doubt that you'll be up at 10K. And when you can build a business and do this kind of work that you're really passionate about and help others, and that's what we're all doing, most of us women, that is freedom. And I think that the freedom is really more for us internally that we can do it. And that's what I call the emotional freedom. And then when you have that, the financial freedom comes, which is where what you're seeing right now. And once we have that belief about ourselves, there's nothing we can't do. It's really our own belief in ourselves that we can do it. And
That
it's
is so true.
it's just climbing to that place. And I think people need support or they need to know, like, watch this video to see. I mean, look at your situation. That's just it's pretty remarkable. That's why I was so thrilled to interview you, is that all have stuff and it's all relative, but the fact is that we can climb out of it and we can persevere and we can overcome. And I'm just so proud of you. I'm proud to know you and I'm proud to feature you, and I would love to have people share.
There was one other thing that I wanted to say, and that
Sure.
was that during this time when I was working on these courses, you're right, I was working 12 to 16 hours a day after day, weekends. I was doing lots of work to get to this point, and that's behind the scenes that people don't know. And at the same time, I was re-editing my memoir because it had been accepted by a publisher out of Seattle. There was an awful lot of work that went on with this, with getting to the success point that I did. It was all fun though. It was wonderfully fun. And just to feel like I can do this, I am doing this. Oh, this is amazing. There is a lot of work behind it though. It's not just set an intention and sit back and wait for it to
Yeah.
fall in your lap.
That's like the secret. I mean, we have to take action, and that's what people don't know. And the other thing is that we all don't work. I put in many 12-hour days. And if I'm on a real passionate thing that I'm doing or creating, yes, you've got to put in the work, but it's not like that all the time. You have to take some action and also find something that you're joyful about. I think that's what we're really talking about, so that it's really authentic to you and what you're passionate about. So I think that your story is just remarkable. And again, I'm so thankful. And if people want to shout out and say hello to Teresa, post some comments, go to her site, join her groups, and if you're into baking, get over there to northwestsourdough.com and find some good goodies that she's got for you. Thank you again. It's a pleasure talking to you, Teresa, and I wish you the best.
Thank you so much, Cheryl. I enjoyed being here, and I always enjoy being with you and taking your classes.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Thank you. Take care.